Amazing, let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome to our panel today. Thank you for taking the time to attend. Like our panellists here today, you're probably incredibly busy running your businesses and you can't seem to find enough hours in the day. Well, our panellists have been in your shoes and they're here and ready to talk about ways they've gained back time in their gym. Let's start with some quick introductions to get started. So I'll start with you, John.
Okay, my name's John Grindrod and I run a gym called FTC in Ipswich, Suffolk. Roughly about 17,500 square feet with 1,600 members. We've been open for 7.5 years, so opened just before the pandemic. Struggled with all of that and had loads of issues going from there to where we are now. Okay?
Thanks, John. Sean.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sean Thornton. I'm the co-owner of 315 Health Club in Lancaster. It was launched in 2013, and at the time it was the biggest independent health club to be launched in the UK economy. It's a 60,000 square foot facility. We've got 3 swimming pools, 5 studios, 4 personal training, small group training areas, and a 200 station gym. We've now, thankfully, we serve a membership base of over 8,000 people locally. It sounds grand. I've been in the industry for 35 years. I took on board 315. It was a closed, derelict building in 2013. Since opening, we faced every challenge, everything that could go wrong in business has gone wrong in business. I had directors that went AWOL or business partners that went AWOL. The banks pulled out. We then had the second biggest civil engineering infrastructure project in the UK economy outside the London Crossrail. We survived that. We're now the most accessible point in the area, but at the time we were the most inaccessible point in the area within 12 months of opening. So we had to endure lots of inconveniences there. Then we had COVID, and but we managed to survive, obviously, COVID. We actually grew within the second lockdown of COVID. So it goes to show the power of independent health clubs and localness, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of that experience with you today.
Thank you, Sean. Chris, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris Wood. I'm the co-owner of Dynamics Performance, and we are a small gym and injury clinic based in Northwich in Cheshire. Myself and my wife, we opened the gym in 2019, but we were existed as an injury clinic before then, since 2013. So we offer anything from injury rehab, gym memberships, group training, personal training, that sort of thing. Very similar to these guys, we endured the test of COVID, thankfully came out the other side of that, and it's brought us to where we are today. So hopefully, as Sean said, hopefully tend to give you a few bits of tips and advice.
Thanks, guys. And I'm your host today. I'm Megan Greenaway. I'm a customer success manager who works with Explore Gym. I help our customers get value from their products, and I'll hopefully help you guys get value today from the questions I asked the team. Okay, so this discussion will be about 30 minutes, and then we'll open the floor for questions after. So we recently published the Gym Operator Insights report with findings from our Challenges of Running a Gym research. We will share some findings today on the screen, but you can download a free copy of that report by scanning the QR code on the screen there and see how your business measures up to those across the UK. There will be a bigger QR code at the end if you can't quite scan this one. Perfect. So the Challenges of Running a Gym research explored a variety of topics, from sales to AI to tech to marketing. And there was one common theme across all topics, and it won't be a surprise to anyone here today, but gym operators are time poor. There's a million and one things to do, and you feel like you're being pulled in every direction. There's no magic way of winning hours back in the week, but there are small and big changes you can make, and hopefully you can take away from today that can help you gain back time. That's time, I guess, to work on your business, time to focus on your members and invest in your team as well. So open for the questions, guys. So over to you, Chris, first. When you think about being time poor, what does that look like in your world, and how have you managed to overcome that?
So I guess being time poor for me, I usually split a lot of my time between client-facing work and then administrative, and then making sure managing the facility is all done properly. So I guess the one thing we've leveraged more on is the automation side of things. So a lot of administrative stuff from our point of view is always the sending the same stuff off, doing the same thing, having the same conversation. So it's looking at how we've been able to automate that. So obviously we're a customer of Explore, so they have loads of handy features in terms of from the onboarding email. So we try and front load the automation as much as we can. So as soon as, before someone's even come through the door, they've had everything they need. We've had all the intake forms sent out. So we can just focus more on service delivery when we come in. From an owner's point of view, knowing that done, you're not having to constantly check up on the rest of your team. They know what to expect, and they know the process that are involved then for when customer comes in. Equally, from a self-service point of view, that's always really helped us. So we integrate the Normal Tech recovery boots as part and parcel of our USP alongside our injury clinic. We just have that with a simple QR code just set up by the chairs. So if a member of staff isn't available, someone's able to go up and sort of just in their own time get a feel for what the boots are all about. So we put that on a YouTube video, and that really works well, because then people don't feel as though they're having to come and mire someone, although if someone does want to come and ask us, obviously we're happy to help. And then from our injury clinic point of view, we have an online booking system, so works very similar to like an online sign up for most gyms, but I think the fact that the customer can select and choose the time and day, the practitioner they want to come and see, and the payment's already done ahead of time. So again, it just really frees up focusing on the delivery of good service, which I think is a key thing that what most independents do really, really well, is that they care about the customer that comes in. They want to do everything and more for them.
Yeah, definitely that connection. And I guess speaking about automation, it's one of them things that you never have time to set up, but it pays off in the long run. John, what's one thing you've automated that's made a real difference?
So we went 24/7 coming out of the pandemic, which meant that we had to change lots of stuff about entry and all of those kind of things. So when you came into our gym, we used to have a counter. So we then had to put a shot face on that. We then put speed gates in, like you get at the passport control at Gatwick or Heathrow. So we haven't got a turnstile, we've actually got glass gates, full height, because if we don't have full height ones, people try and climb over the top. Funny old thing, or underneath, as they do. So we put speed gates in, and obviously with our member management company, we use a QR code which is dynamic, so it updates every few seconds, so it can't be photographed. We then put surveillance in that monitor it out of hours. We have manned hours and we have unmanned hours. And it's interesting because I call it the BMW effect, about being 24/7. Is that people like to have it but not use it, just like indicators on a BMW. Yeah? So you'll offer the 24/7. Not very many people will actually use it, but it's a way of them not being able to say, no, I'm not going to come and join your gym. So 24/7, going 24/7 rescued us, and automating that process with the surveillance, having the gates, putting vending machines in, using our app, putting videos on our app, QR codes where our massage guns are, all of those kind of things, being big on our social. We've literally just developed an AI for our website, which is going to save us time in that we don't have to do emails back now. They'll just get that answer instantaneously. And obviously the longer you have your AI on your website, the better it becomes and stuff like that. And it's about augmenting what we offer, and answering the client as quick as possible, because if you don't answer them within that 20 minutes, they'll go elsewhere. And that's what we found. So they're the things. So we try and automate as much as possible, but offer face-to-face as well. Okay.
Thanks, John. Really interesting, obviously, saying it's saved you going 24 hours. It's like being open more. It's actually saving you more time.
The irony is we're
Yeah.
longer, but I work less hours.
Yeah. Brill. So next, I'm sort of looking at outsourcing. That's something that people tend to use to save time. And I guess this one's open for you guys to answer. Is there anything you've outsourced that saved you time?
I won't say outsourcing, giving 100%, but we actually work in partnerships with lots of organisations. So obviously we work with Explore for our customer service and our customer interface. We use Peninsula HR to support. Obviously, we all employ people, and one of the biggest headaches as independent health club owners, we're all passionate about the world of fitness and positively changing people's lives and working with our clients. And we're very entrepreneurial. We've got a need and a thirst for creating results, and particularly financial results, to thrive and not only survive and thrive. So, like you say, time is the biggest resource. It's our biggest challenge, and we all employ people, and it can be a real minefield in trying to be an expert in all the different areas. And I always think when you're setting up a health club, to be successful, we've got 6 key pillars. We have pillars responsible for sales and marketing, pillars for HR, human resources, pillars for sort of finance and IT, pillars for programming and gym. So we've got so much that we're responsible for as gym owners, but we can't be mastering every area. So I always look at my staff and my stars. My staff is the biggest resources that I have, and when they're setting up 315, I'm old-fashioned. I've been in the industry now since the early 1990s. And in that time, health and fitness was for the discerning clientele. It was very service-orientated. It was about changing people's lives. And then what I've seen over the decades, then in the noughties, everything became a race to the bottom. How cheap can we run everything? And we cut out all our services. So we were just straightforward entry for a gym, no staff, no programming, no culture, no differential. Now, I'm a passionate believer in a service culture. How do you change human behaviour? You do that through education, motivation, support. Who gives that support in the local economy? We do. As independent health club operators, we are the facilitators, we are the knowledge, and we are the expertise. So whilst we're the expertise to our members and to people within the community for when it comes to fitness, diet, exercise, motivation, we are the experts in those fields. We also need to have the support and experts in other fields. So I've got a HR person within the organisation that's responsible, but we utilise an external national governing body that keeps us up to date. They're responsible for all our risk assessments, all our job descriptions, all our contracts of employment. So it keeps us on the straight and narrow, and it also gives us an insurance policy that if we do have any issues with employees, and I employ today over 70 people on a selection of part-time and full-time positions. So it's expansive. Now, that employment base, also how do I manage my business, is my staff are my stars, and every star within my team has got a genius. So what I challenge every person as an operator, as an owner, is to find out what are the areas of interest of your personnel. Because you'll be surprised at certain people, they may be a fitness instructor, but they have a passion for finance. Mm-hmm. They might be a fitness instructor, but they're creative and they're good at doing artwork and design, so that helps keep dressing your club up as a shop window. So if you're ever doing programs, look at those staff that can help you output. Because to optimise profit, we need to optimise the ability to output, whether that's output in our marketing, whether that's output in our programming, our class attendances, everything's got an output. So what I try and do is all my staff, I try and find the geniuses. Every one of them's a lieutenant of their areas of responsibility, and every one of my staff are now business leaders. So I've got staff, there's a few of them are here today. I've got Lauren in front of us. Now, Lauren started out as a swim coach. Then she became a swim coach manager, and now she's responsible probably for one of the biggest independent swim schools in the UK, where we've got over 1,600 kids participating on a regular basis.
Amazing.
Now, all I've done is facilitate their geniuses. So find the geniuses within your team, and the areas that you can't cover within your economy, within your business, then outsource it to the experts.
Yeah, really good insights. Thank you, Sean. I guess that moved on to my next point about delegation and team and how important your team are. I really like the way you talk about finding a genius in everyone. Everyone's got their own skill set, and using them within the business will definitely help. John, I know you focused heavily on reliability after being burnt in the past. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, so I think, as with everybody in the industry, staffing is a major problem or issue. We work in an industry, like we've already discussed, where we've had that race to the bottom, and unfortunately wages and stuff like that kind of match that when we're working on living wage and all of those kind of things. So sometimes your staff are the level they are because you're paying the lower end of the market. And so you have to figure out what you can do for them and all of those kind of things, and how you get better staff in, retain them. And I had big issues with staff going sick when we were manned. So if somebody went sick, we couldn't just not open. So I then had to cover. So, I mean, one member of staff went sick 16 times in 6 months, and he only did 3 shifts a week. So you work that out. I'm working a full day shift, and then when I finish my shift, I'm still doing stuff, and then I've got to go and do a double shift on the back of that. So 16 in 6 months, plus any other staff that have gone sick, plus all the other stuff that I'm doing. You know, I was literally hanging out my arse, to be fair, and I had to do something about it. And ultimately, I had a manager that wasn't good for me, was combative, had a different agenda, so had to get rid of. And then what I wanted to do was reduce my staff numbers down and bring in new staff, young staff that weren't corrupted by the industry, that I could mould and shape, but not make in my image, but mould and shape them in theirs and help them grow. And that's been so important. Lucy, who sat over there, is my assistant manager now. Very young when she came on board. Didn't know that much about that side of things, but that wasn't the issue. It was whether she was willing to grow and learn. And I wanted somebody that was very driven, that had done that with their own PT business and stuff. So I found somebody that I thought was really driven, really willing, and to lead, you know, and also bring something to the game that I didn't have. I'm a 57-year-old man. So as much as I'm on some social media platforms and that kind of thing, I wanted somebody else that could do all of those things. And it's very much the point you're saying about geniuses, is that you've got to fit the right blocks into the right holes and have people that fit for your business. My wife has just come on board full time for us because I didn't want her in the business and be fully committed to us as both being in the business. But she's now come on board. But she's worked in insurance for 40 years. So I've got an expert in HR and insurance within the business now. She's very process driven. So she does all of those kind of things, which has freed me up to then go do the things I'm good at, speaking to customers, coming out to things like this, going to factories, because I would never buy a piece of equipment straight off the shelf. You know, I like to do my research and all of those kind of things. So it's really important, that staffing thing, finding the right people, putting them in. So we've actually come down on staff numbers, but the quality of those staff has gone up. And we've outsourced our instructors now. We've had instructors that taught all the classes that we paid, but they're on minimum wage, so they were rubbish. But I now pay for freelancers. And the good thing about that is, if they're not good enough, gone. Yeah, if they do not produce the goods, because it's their business, they are gone. They get a warning, they get a chat, they get about a month, and if their game isn't up and our numbers have dropped, they are gone, we'll replace them. You know, because I think sometimes you've just got to be a bit ruthless about it. But also it's allowed me to focus on one of my members of staff that was just newly qualified, and I've been able to mentor her with Lucy's help and bring her slowly into teaching group PT and that kind of stuff, and spend the time on her, whereas I don't have to worry about the rest because Lucy does that with our group trainers. So that's what we do.
I think off the back of
Thank
that,
you,
it's
yeah.
sometimes the short-term pain of taking someone who's like that is the long-term gain. So relating that to what me and Shark do, we've sometimes found our best employees who actually come from university placements. So we've taken on therapists as placements. They've come in, we've almost seen what the character's about after a few months of being with us, and then at the end of it, we've employed 2 or 3 therapists now straight out of university, and they've already had that grounded within the business. So when they hit the ground running, they already know the processes, they already know everything else. So it's as much as it's hard work initially, in the long term, they then get the results and deliver the service that you want for your members.
Brilliant, yeah, thank you. And I guess going more on to member experience now and self-serve, with obviously more automation in place, and obviously members still want that seamless self-service, but they also want that human connection. Chris, how do you manage that in your business?
In terms of...
Yeah, like the member journey. So a member wants to be able to go and self-serve, but they also want that human connection. So how do you balance both automation and giving the member that human connection? And
I think it's a bit different for us because our USP is very much from an injury perspective. That's where we do our best work. So there's always a bit more of a human element to it, because when it comes to people with injuries or in pain, there's usually lots of contextual questions that come around it, like, am I okay to do this exercise? Is it okay if I have this reaction to that workout? Or and so I think that human element, and almost having someone to maybe just have a touch point, maybe not standing over them all the time, but someone that's there to have a conversation with them, and it might be as literally as 2 minutes to say, yeah, fine, carry on. I think a lot of our customers really value that as part of our proposition, because they're not, they are paying for it in one way, but they almost see it as like it's effectively free advice. But if they do need something particularly, they've got all the tools there. So they've got a training plan for when they sign up, so they know that they can effectively self-serve in that way because they've got something there that they can tweak. But then they've got access to the recovery boots. They can go and book their appointment online if they want to. They can come and book an onboarding session with us if they need anything extra. So I think that side of things for us, we have the tools there initially, but then from a human element, we're always manned. So we're not like a 24/7 facility where we have unmanned hours, just because of the nature of the work that we do. So I think that's an important part of it, not losing that those touch points with your members, because that's where you can get some real customer loyalty, really.
yeah, absolutely. I guess having that option for members to self-serve or not. John, how do you manage that 24/7?
So obviously we've automated as much as possible, because obviously that facilitates people being able to do everything. But by doing that and getting my staff in, it's freed me up personally. So I now turn up at the gym sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning when I have 2 members that I've never seen because they joined online. They come at 2 in the morning. So how do you get that link? Well, you have to get out of bed and you have to go see them and show your face and go, I'm John, I'm the owner. You know, and they love that. They love that bit. But that's what it's allowed me to do by having other people do that. And I wander the floor and I chat to people. I get to know everybody. We have a company policy that when somebody comes in through the front door, if there's a staff member in reception, they say hello. You know, that's part and parcel of us. We have a policy that when they leave, we say goodbye, to the extent when members leave, they're looking at us, and if we don't say goodbye, they're going, what have I done? You know, so we do that, and I do encourage all of my staff, whether they're cleaners or whether it's gym staff, to speak to our members. We recently did some training with Promax with Dominic O'Sullivan, who's here today, doing a thing on this, where we had all of our staff, including the cleaners, you know, everybody there, and it was about how we deal with our clients and our members. And it was important for our cleaners to speak to them in the right way, in a positive manner. They didn't, you know, if a member moaned to them, they went, yeah, no problems, I've noted that, I'll take that to the member, to the manager, and that kind of stuff. And that's how we engage. We get young members in late at night, so they piss about a little bit, don't they, because they're youngsters, because we all did that, didn't we, you know, when we got up to stuff. So I make sure I turn up at 11 o'clock at night and go, hello, boys. And I'm invariably a bit bigger than most of them, so that kind of scares them a little bit, I think. and I was a bit bigger a few months ago. So I, you know, it's that presence on the floor. Lucy gets round, speaks to people in a different manner, you know, and then if it gets really bad, we send the wife out.
I'd actually just reiterate what you just said there. Is like, you know, and where I started at the beginning, that as an independent health club, you are the local experts and knowledge in your areas. And it's your people that differentiate you from your competitors. So it's all right, every one of us suffers from, you know, increased competition from a lot of the multinationals and the pure gyms and the budget operators. But there's no cultural values in those organisations. They are what they are. They do exactly what they say on the can. They provide an affordable entry into fitness, but it doesn't give you that sort of experience. And a club is all about like-minded people. So I always, as facilitators, as club owners, whether you're a personal training studio or you're a mega facility, it doesn't matter. What makes you different is you, the individual, and it's your sort of your vision, because that's why we're doing it. You know, it's our opportunity to make a difference to the areas that we're in, and we're a people industry. I think one of the ways we're talking about AI, and we can utilise AI as an efficiency to help us in our administration, in our accounting, and it frees us up to be what we are. We are a people business. And the more people in this modern day and age, they're now looking at leisure facilities or health clubs or gyms as an extension, as their social time. So effectively now, it's don't be a race to the bottom. I actually starting to look at now. I think this is the window of opportunity for the health and fitness. In 35 years, this is the most lucrative future that we've got to look forward to, because we've got a population that's out there that's becoming a lot more health orientated. There's a lot more with the internet, there's a lot more biohacking, there's a lot more knowledge that's available than there's ever been there before. And, you know, we've got staff and knowledge, we've got, you know, there's so much diversification. We can be so many things to so many people. And I'd always start to know what you want as an owner, and then work backwards. Plan for success. And the biggest thing is your staff is your output. So keep going back to all your team, because that's your personality. That's the vibe of your facility. And they're the ones that's going to deliver. So I'm like yourself. I much prefer to go and bring people and train them up, bring them from outside the industry, train them up and develop them to your cultural values, rather than getting people that are qualified personal trainers coming in and saying, I'm qualified, and trying to instill their protocols in your organisation. It's your business, you're the independent, and that's your authority to go and create your culture and be different to what goes on in the marketplace.
I just wanted to add to your thing about the 35 years, you know, this is our best opportunity. We're all facing Rachel from accounts in 2 weeks' time, and we all know what's coming. But what we have to do is say to everybody out there, what do we offer that they want, that they can't get rid of? You know, so if you don't value your business and your business has no value and you make it cheap, people will go, well, I can get rid of that. It's not worth anything. You know, and we all know the pure gyms of this world, they're soulless places, but they're cheap. And people go there, you stand outside when I've done it, and I watch people go in looking unhappy, and they leave unhappy. People come into my place, they're smiling, they leave smiling, laughing and joking, they've got community, they've got value. And you've got to have a value on your business, and it's got to be worth something for them to go, actually, I'm going to prioritise that over a McDonald's or a Costa or the pub. You know, and you've got to be community, and we've got to build those relationships and offer something that they want to keep. And that's the most, like you keep saying, you know, we've got to be something for them. Yeah.
And it's, you know, we're talking about the power of relationships. It's the same as you know, I'll go back to the staff and managing the resources. I actually always walk around the building trying to catch my staff doing things right. So I try and do positive reinforcement, positive engagement, because that is the influence that I want them to have on my members.
Yeah.
So I believe that how I am with my staff. Now, I wish I could know all my members, but I got to admit, I gave up on that many years ago. It's too big an entity. So I struggle to know the names of my 70 staff. So it's basically, but my staff are my stars, and by catching and doing things right, it just reinforces that cultural values. And now, like I say, my staff are the problem solvers as well now. So they're no longer just a resource that I'm investing in just to have a body there. They are the ones that's now driving the business forwards. They're the business leaders. I'm just the conductor.
Yeah, happy staff, happy members.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
And actually, what helps your business is what makes a club is the people. And in the past, we related to it at the beginning that our industry was notorious for staff turnover. Whereas what I find by focusing on your staff and developing your staff and training your staff, all my staff are on sort of, they're all on training courses. They've all got CPD courses. So every one of my staff are all on training courses that helps them improve their areas of responsibility. But it means that they're more informed. They are the business leaders. So they're the ones that creates the solutions and takes the business. And your staff for your stars, we have National Fitness Day is our one highlight. It's our main sales day of the year. Many years ago, when we first did it, it was £32,000 for one day. My team take responsibility for this day. And this year, they had another record day. They've increased it every year for 8 years. And I didn't think I could ask more of them from last year, which was 287,000. Now, this year, they did 325,000.
Amazing.
So that's one day. So if you believe in your staff and allow them to do it, they can do wonderful things for you.
Great. Thank you, Sean. Really good insights. So I guess this next question then, just to wrap up, is for all. And we've got, I guess, for a gym owner or operator sat here today that's sort of stretched for time, what's the first step you would tell them to take to win back time themselves? Chris, I'll start with you.
I think automate what's repetitive. Why keep copy and pasting the same email when you can just, in the technology in the day we live in, we can automate a lot of those things. I think where you can outsource to the right people, do your research, do your homework on who you let into your business, particularly as an owner operator. Like so many times, it might seem a good fit, but then you get burned. So don't rush those decisions. If you are going to outsource, make sure it's the right price, the right level of service that you're happy with. And then I think third one. Drawn a blank. Next.
Yeah, I did. Just know what it is you're looking to achieve. Reverse engineer everything back to that gives you the individual components, and then just work through your team. And basically, it's what we just said. If you can share everything out, it means when the mission is shared, the workload is shared. So it's just having a common mission. And ours is quite easy. Positively change people's lives. In all aspects of what we're doing is how do we change people's lives within our own team, and within our team, how do we change our members' lives? So it's a common cause.
Okay, so I'm ex-military. And obviously when I was in the military, we used to analyse everything and those kind of things. And one of the big things we use is SWOT analysis and stuff like that. And I think if you can't identify your issues in the first place, how can you do anything about it? So first and foremost, you have to be able to identify that and have a process where you look at what you do. So review what you do, look at it, be very analytical about it and be very honest about it. And then go, well, that really works. Why does that work? And know why it works, and then implement that elsewhere. Look at that. That doesn't work. Right, let's get rid of that. Let's change it. Or that doesn't work, but that's the best that we can do. There's no point in changing stuff for the sake of changing it unless you could put something better in place. So I think the biggest skill that I learned, and unfortunately enough, I did this going into the pandemic, the day that we got told we were closing down, I sat down, got my whiteboard out, did a SWOT analysis and went bang, 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 bang. And then I worked through them. I did all my processes, spoke to my lenders and all of those kind of things, looked at, right, I'm going to be opening in hopefully 6 months, a year, don't know. Right, what am I going to do when I open that's going to get my members back in? How am I going to keep them? And all of those things. And doing that made me more efficient at what I do. And it gave me time back to spend back on myself and ultimately be better for my health. Because I don't think I would be here now if I hadn't have done that, to be honest.
Thank you. I think I'll do another final question. But what is in one word each, keeping it short, what is one thing you wouldn't automate? And John, I'll start with you. Sorry? Wouldn't automate, so you'd never automate.
Myself. I think it's important that we have people. You know, as we say, we are a people-driven business. We are about people, so you need people, and that's why the likes of the bargain basement gyms, yes, they get people in, but their turnover is very high. We build community, so we have to have people. And yes, I would automate to augment what my staff do, but I would never replace them completely. You know, obviously, if Rachel from accounts in 2 weeks' time forces into an issue where the only way I'm going to be able to do business is to automate everything, I'm going to get out of the industry. I'm going to sell it. You know, because that's not what I want to be part of. You know, we are very integral parts. Lucy, myself, my wife, and the other staff, the instructors, the PTs, the rehab guys. We have a barbers as well. So, you know, they're all part of that community. And I've got to say that people, you know, ultimately keep people, but get good people.
That was definitely not one word, John. Thank you.
Well, I'm the one that usually talks and rambles on, but I'd just say community.
Yeah, similar theme. Yeah, definitely. Chris?
Same.
People.
Social interaction, community, you can't automate it. You know, what makes our sector so special is that I think, you know, all three of us here could think of members that we've had stories of, or whether we've had personal interactions with them or members of our staff have, and we've maybe helped them through a very difficult period in the time, whereas you compare that, would that happen in a normal commercial changing? Maybe not, but I think that's the key thing. Community, social interaction, you can't replace it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely a theme there, community, people, and trusted in your team throughout.
And the other thing as well is, you know, I got taught many years ago, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So just reiterate, no, I've got many lieutenants and business leaders in all areas, but every one of them's got a number on the head, what success looks like. Some of it's fine, some of them are financial, some of them are operational, some of them are utilisation. Because the other thing is, what I always try and do is to get everyone, and you align it through your business plan, your financial plans, and your vision and your mission, is to get everybody aligned and engaged to what it is we're all, you know, we're about and trying to achieve. And then knowing what success is, and then just like you say, practicing Kaizen is about, as a team, is saying what can we do better.
Yeah.
And if you keep doing that, that's how marginal gains every week, every month, every year can become quite transformative over the year.
Brill, thank you. Now we'd love to open the floor for questions, so feel free, anyone, to put your hand up, ask a specific panellist, or just ask the group and we'll answer. It's always silent to start with. Yes, Charlotte. Sorry, we'll need a mic, please, if anyone's... No? I'll come over. Oh. Thanks, John.
It's the best exercise I've had all day.
I'll get up ready.
Hi, so I am Chris's wife, so I work with Chris. So I know how much we personally use AI, or me in particular, for our marketing strategies and social media content. For Sean, John, and obviously Chris, if there's anything I don't know about, how often would you use AI, and how do you use it effectively for other gym owners in the room?
I love AI. It's like, it just takes the coldness of a blank piece of paper. So you can just write your notes and then put it into it. So it's like a polisher. So I utilise AI, but what I've got told many years ago was upload all your own original documents. So I've got 30 odd years of documents. So it becomes your personality in your brain. Don't allow AI to just do everything for you. Don't just say, give everything and say, well, AI is running my business. You put the personality, you put your USBs into everything that you're doing, and treat AI is just like your brain. So, but don't dilute your brand, enhance your brand by making sure everything is personable to your organisation and it comes across personal. So it's building your own personality.
I think the main thing for me is that if you're using AI, I think I agree with you. It's all new and exciting, but we can very quickly jump to, oh, let's just do everything through it. I think it's definitely something to leverage, but I think when we're talking about being time poor and how we free that time up, the speed of getting to the answer we're probably all looking for is what it allows us to do. So I think in that sense, if we can make decisions quicker, and often as owners where we're getting close to burnout or it's just another decision to make, that decision fatigue is quite hard to do without AI. So, I'd say that's probably the best thing. It helps you get to that end point and makes those better decision making and gives you another angle that you might not have considered before.
Yeah, I've found, obviously, we've just put an AI bot on our website. So we spent months before we went live last week, actually, with it by answering the questions in our own words and then going through that, then testing it. So we did our beta testing and all of that. Wasn't happy, went back, and we did that, and we haven't launched it until we're happy and it's got our personality because it's our business. And then we'll continue to input stuff into their AI as it grows and it learns, and it'll learn our style and our personality and those kind of things. It'll be around our business, so that's really important. But the other thing, like you say, using AI as an admin tool and stuff, is it's that time saver, but you've still got to be careful that you just don't go, do this, it does it, and then you just file it. You've still got to read through it, check it, and make sure it's correct. So yes, it can be quicker, but you've still got to be on top of it. It's not a replacement, it's an augment.
It's a great tool to help you in the administration, all the components I said at the beginning. So it does all the boring stuff. So it frees you to do the stuff that we came into this industry for, which was to deal with people, motivate and educate people to a healthier lifestyle.
Thank you. I think we'll have time for maybe one or two more questions, if there's any more in the audience. Please don't be shy. Yes. Thank you.
So you talked a lot about the staff and sort of what they bring to the business, but also that you bring quite a lot of sort of the younger generation in now and train them up. Within my team, I've got, I'd say, a 50-50 split of those that have been in the industry a while and those that are new. And the differences I see is now it's very much, they come to work, they do their job, and they can do it exceptionally well, but then they leave. Whereas the older generation, they do have a bit more of a buy-in. They want to do it well. They want to sell for you. How can we sort of instill that in the younger generation? Because I think it's more of a sort of a health thing for them, a mental health thing, that they're able to come away from it and they're not as invested. But we need them to care.
I think for me, if I was in that scenario, it's sort of having a conversation with them and saying what is going to drive you to do more, be more passionate about what we're doing, effectively sell them the mission. What are you, what's your gym about, what's your facility about, and how can you close that gap between where they are and where you want them to be, whether that's giving them more responsibility if they've got the skill set to do it. Have they, like what Sean said before, have they got a genius in them that you've not uncovered yet, and is that going to be the switch that's going to kick them into another gear? I think it comes down to chatting with them a little bit more from my perspective.
For me, I think if you look at the statistics when you analyse a pay increase, for instance, a feel-good factor over a pay increase will last approximately 6 weeks. Yeah, and after 6 weeks, they'll just go, well, that's what I get that. They don't feel any better after 6 weeks. They just take it as the norm. So I think when you're investing in staff and getting them, you've got to do stuff that's ongoing. You've got to get them to get buy-in. Like I say, unfortunately, we are at the lower end of the pay scales, but you can incentivize. I'm going to do that with Lucy. She's got a pay scheme that's incentivized, that she gets me more clients, she gets more pay an hour. It's as simple as that. If we lose clients, she gets less. So it's as simple as that. So, that is one way of doing it. But also, I invest in her. I said to her, I'll take you around the shows, I'll get you to meet people, we'll do training. I take her opinion very seriously. I ask her, what do you want? This is what I'm going to do, what do you think? And normally she gangs up with my wife, and then they get their way, to be fair. But it's the same. We've got a young girl called Freya that works for us. She's a bit bigger than the normal fitness, but she's a strength athlete, and I wanted somebody like that because I wanted to have somebody different. But I invested in her and gave her the confidence to be a fitness instructor. Said, you're exactly what I want, because I want to show those girls that are not the size 6 out there that we cater for them as well, and stuff like that. And I said to her, well, what do you want to deliver? You know, where's your strengths, where's your weaknesses? And then I can put her on training courses, I can assist her. Lucy's good at she runs her own PT business as well, so she's helped out her setting up her PT business and things like that. And I think that's where we come in, where we can mentor our staff, help them, but also take their opinion and accept that and use it and not just dismiss it. I think that's one of the most important things with our staff, like you say, with your geniuses, you know, that they have value, and we need to let them know they have value.
You know, like I said, we start out saying knowing what we want, and then, you know, all the staff, the importance of is getting everybody aligned and engaged within the business, which is then having a plan. And if we have a plan for success, and then then it's important, and the power of communication to keep monitoring, to keep everybody aligned and engaged to the plan. So I try and encourage all my teams that they have a fortnightly. So because the trouble is with our industry, we're a moving target all the time. We're open many hours. We're not on Monday to Friday 9 to 5 business. Some businesses are open 7 days, 24/7. And, you know, we're open over 100 hours a week. So it's hard to get everybody together for team meetings and to take everybody out of a department at any one time. So I try and encourage all my teams that they have a fortnightly team meeting, and then they have a fortnightly one-to-one. So there's always a point of contact between the departmental leader and also the employee within that, to keep everybody both progressing, catching people doing things right, and feeding back the alignment of are we all working, is what we're doing, are we all aligned and engaged and moving in the right direction.
Great, thank you. Hopefully that answered your question. Amazing. I think, unfortunately, we don't have any more time for questions, but if you do want to find any of us after this session, you can do and ask whatever questions you want. But yeah, no, thank you for the questions that have been asked. Thank you. Obviously, please join me in thanking the panel today. Obviously, Chris, Sean and John. And and sharing so openly as well about your business and how you save time. So yeah, hopefully everyone's found value, and we'll wrap up there.